in about 2 weeks, or just under, the models that have been missing from the Chaos Space Marine Codex 2 will be released. Initially in the new Chaos Starter box set for £60. So this book will finally be complete. We'll finally have everything that's in this book and be able to use it. Now, whilst we've had this book for several months, we've still basically been playing the old Chaos game because the new models weren't available. And whilst you can get priests and lords of executions and stuff like that, or whatever they're called, you know, the good stuff has been absent. And the good stuff, whilst most units get, most sides get extra stratagems and traits and stuff like that, the way they've gone about with Chaos is by introducing units that buff other units. That's how our changes have come about. And as a consequence, you either have the units in your army that need buffing, or you've got a lot of money to spend to get them in your army. Now, I've actually been collecting these units anyway because I wanted them, because I like variety. So I've got Mutilith Beasts, or Mutilators, and I've got Obliterators, and I've got, you know, Defilers and Forge Fiends and everything, you know, Mauler Fiends. I've got them already. So I'm just waiting for the units that buff them to come out, and I'm well aware. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, just so you know where we're coming from, right? Units that qualify as says Legion Demon engines include the Lourdes Gordon, Forge Fiend, Defiler, Mauler Fiend, Venom Crawler, maybe the Heldrake, I seem to remember something about that being excluded, and the Lord of Skulls. Now, units that qualify as Demon units, not the same as Demon Engine. Demon, there's two different key words there. There's the Demon Prince, Greater Possessed, Warp Talons, Obliterators, Mutilators, Forge Fiends, Defilers, Mauler Fiends, Venom Crawlers, Heldrakes maybe, and Lord of Skulls. So there's quite a lot of units that can benefit from these new buffs that are about to come out with these units. Now, if we go straight to the top, starting with the Chaos Lord, there's a new Chaos Lord out with a Thunderhammer. You slap a jetpack on the back of him, you've got yourself a Chaos Phase and have a Smash Captain. And this guy, he can be, how we say, buffed up in various ways with artifacts, you know, to make better. But he gives you a re-roll on everything in your side, as long as it's in the Legion, part of the Legion. So he's a good include, you know, if you put a jump pack on the back, because he can keep up with them. So that's the first one, right? The obvious one. Now we get to the interesting stuff. I'm not going to read out all of the Master of Possession's powers, but the model itself is on page 126, and the powers are in the Malefic section, which is 169. Now, the two you want to focus on are Cursed Earth and Infernal Power. Both of these are a 6-inch Aurora ability that applies everything within 6 inches. So if he casts these powers, anything within 6 inches that are basically Legion Demon keywords will benefit. The first one is a +1 on invulnerable saves. All Legion Demon units get a +5 invulnerable as standard. That makes it a +4 invulnerable, which isn't anything to be slouched at, because it's a 4+, a 50-50 chance of shrugging anything off. Second one is a reroll of hit and wound rolls. Them two powers alone make him into a walking, talking meathead, because he'll buff everything around him. He'll be really valuable. Right, he's a new HQ choice, so you don't want him sniped at. He only gets 3 attacks as standard, and he's a 3+ WS. He's not that brilliant at anything. It's just them particular powers. He also, any psychers within 12 inches that try to cast powers, enemy psychers, have a Perils of the Warp on any double. So he could protect you from psychers attacking, you know, the troops that you've got around you. So this guy here, very good at buffing your men and protecting them. And if you stick him on something of a high value, or near something of high value, he can keep that thing alive. Now, Lourdes Gordon. This is a -1 to hit for any moving 6 inches shooting at him. I think it's vehicles only though. And then a +1 to hit for Legion Demon engines. That's Demon engines on your Legion. This is why you can't take them with 1,000 Suns, it's Legion Demon engines. So this thing here, a +1 to hit means your 4+ Forge Fiend will now be a 3+ Forge Fiend. Because he's got heavy weapons, as soon as he moves, it goes back up to 4+. But you get a reroll of 1s with the Chaos Lord, or reroll of 1s of hits and wounds with the Master of Possession, and that applies to all Demon engines. That applies to Defilers, Mauler Fiends, Forge Fiends, Venom Crawlers, everything. They all get the bonuses on that because they're also all Demon units. The Demon units and Demon engine. Now if we go down to Greater Possessed, that's a +1 strength on Demon units. So if we just go to Warp Talons, because they're also Demon units, their strength goes up to 5 if he's nearby. Just by standing near him they get a 5+. And if you get powers cast on them, then Vulnerable goes up to 4+. You see, they get rerolls of 1s and wound rolls of 1s, but they get that anyway because of the lightning claws, so it's a bit of crossover there. But the main thing with these is if you use them to buff up the bigger units. Now, we think about the units you're seeing a lot. I'm told you're going to get like about 25% new Space Marine armies now appearing in competitions, which means you've got a high chance of facing, you know, some of the newer models like the Redempted Dreadnought. Now, unfortunately, some units like the Thousand Suns struggle against that. You won't. You've got the Mauler Fiend, should I say, and you've got the Defiler, both of them easily capable of taking them on. And with the units buffing them up, like the Lourdes Gordon, it says, even the Master of Possession, they can attack and defend on even terms with the Redempted Dreadnought, with the exception of they get an invulnerable save, where the Redempted Dreadnought doesn't. Redempted Dreadnought will hit you with its Time 2 strength weapon, which is ridiculously high. It's going to wound most things on a 2+, and you're going to be dead normally. But with your 5+ save now down to a 4+ save, thanks to the Master of Possession, you're probably going to shrug it off the damage half the time. The Redempted Dreadnought is screwed. Be warned, that thing's weapons can strip you down and kill you in one round of Overwatch if the guy buffs it right. But anyway, the Lourdes Gordon and Greater Possessed, very good at buffing your Demon engines, making them so they're useful again. And remember, you've still got the other powers like Prescience and stuff like that, which can be used to give bonuses. But add 1 to hit roll, so you could, if you think about it, if your Forge Fiend stood still and you've got your Lourdes Gordon nearby, the 4 becomes a 3, Prescience becomes a 2. And if your commander's nearby, you're re-rolling 1s as well. So you can have a whole line of Forge Fiends with 8 shots each. Ba 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 ba, shooting back. At strength 8, AP -2, 2 damage I believe it is. I say maybe I'll do it because there's something, I remember seeing something saying it doesn't apply to that, but we'll see. But all of them can be buffed in the same way using the same things. Now, the one I haven't mentioned here, and it's a model that came out when this book came out originally, and that is the Master of Executions. Now, here's the thing about this model. The Master of Executions has a heroic action move of 6 inches against characters, but it moves, I think it's 7 inches by default. Let me just double check. Might as well get it right. 6 inches by default, so he's not going to be charging forward and surviving, especially considering, you know, he's just a single unit with 4 wounds. So he's stuck at the back, and you might think, what's the point of having a model at the back? Well, think about it, right? Which character do you often see bouncing across buildings with a jetpack and a thunderhammer in their hands? Yeah, smash captains. They charge our front lines. This guy here can heroically intervene, and because the smash captain didn't charge your guy, he can't attack back. So this guy here can get a swipe at the smash captains before the smash captain can fight back. And if he gets a 6 on any of the rolls, it's a mortal wound. So That's your defence against the dark arts. The smash captains, you put that near your front line and wait for the smash captain to jump over and then let him heroically intervene and kill off the smash captain. So that's his use, and as far as I can tell, that's his only use. But he can easily intervene and take out most things that hit your front line, including big objects. I mean, D3 damage and AP -3, he could take out a Land Raider with enough hits. A defensive character, I would say, for the Master of Executions. As for the rest of them though, first of all, the Forge Fiend's an old favourite, right? You've got your Strength 8, you know, Hades auto cannon. Oh, it's AP -1 and 2 damage. Not a correction there. But you've also got the Ectoplasma, which is a 24-inch range, heavy D3, 7 -3 D3 damage, which is quite good for the heavier stuff. If you take the configuration and give the Ectoplasma on the nose and 2 Hades things either side, then you've probably got the best of both worlds, although it increases the cost a little bit. The old advice I used to give out for the Defiler was pick a side. You're going to go melee or you're going to go shoot. Don't mix the two. And if you do have to put a weapon that shoots on one of them, make it a cheap one. Don't waste your money on it. Right, now that advice changes, because you can obviously buff him up, hit on a 3+ and still move, you know, with the right cards and powers and stuff and nearby units. Or even a 50-50 chance is better than a 5, because once you got to a 5+ to hit, you might as well be an orc. Mauler Fiend, nothing heavy on that. It's all melee or pistol, so he can move and attack no problems, and he's exceptionally good at taking out vehicles and dreadnoughts and stuff like that. Plus he gets quite a lot of attacks. I mean, people seem to forget to look down at the Lasher Tendrils, which give you additional 6 attacks, but their user strength, and his strength is 6. But remember, if the Master of Possession, is it? Or the Greater Possessed is nearby, his strength is 7, which against other dreadnoughts would mean a wound on a 4+ for the 6 attacks. And that would cause 2 wounds every time it hit. And you've still got your other 4 attacks to do. You get 6 attacks there and 4 attacks there. So that's 10 attacks total. 4 with your Mauler Fists, Mauler Fiend Fists, and 6 with the Lasher Tendrils. And with the buffs and stuff, that thing can be quite deadly. Just remember though, the Redemptor Dreadnought, he's got quite a lot of firepower. When you charge in, he could strip you down to nothing, you know, if you're not careful. However, giving this guy a 5+ invulnerable and then buffing up with a power to 4+ might offset that a little bit. Also, the Defiler and the Mauler Fiend are 2 units that can go toe to toe with the Redemptor Dreadnought and win. Mainly because they'll both get a 5+ invulnerable if buffed up to 4+. The character just has to be in between them to give both of them the benefit of the 4+ invulnerable. He doesn't have to cast it on it, he just has to cast it on himself and be nearby. So these two here are a solution to the brand new models that have come out for the Space Marine side. These are old faithfuls, they're not new models, they're old faithfuls. Many people didn't see them as versatile enough or worthwhile enough, so didn't buy them. Those of us that play the fluff game brought them because they're cool. Now they're even better than cool, they're deadly. But the last one I've been saving for, the thing I've been saving for last is the Venom Crawler. This guy here, he's a meathead basically. So he gets 2 Excruciator cannons, 36-inch range, assault D3, +2 strength, -2 AP and D3 damage. This guy here, because he's got +2 strength, you know, it means his strength, which is normally 6, +2 is 8. If that master, or if that Greater Possessed is nearby, that weapon's a 9. That Venom Crawler gets 2 assault D, well, it's got assault D3 times 2 attacks, you know, at strength 9 when the Greater Possessed is nearby. All the rerolls and everything with the other things, especially if the Lourdes Gordon's nearby, it starts getting a bit sick. And then he gets invulnerable down to 4. This one here can move 10 inches as well. He's got his Excruciator claws. That's he gets 4 attacks and he's got +2 on them, so that's an 8 attack, 8 strength again, -3 and 3 damage. So it's potentially even more deadly than, say, the Defiler, but the Defiler gets power scourges as well, which increases the number of hits he gets. The Defiler power scourge gives him 3 additional attacks with a +4 strength, and his normal strength is 8, so that's 12. But they're still right up there with that. It's still quite good with the Venom Crawler. It says he can't sniff 4 attacks at strength 8, AP -3 and 3 damage. Plus you got the Soul Flare Tendrils on the Venom Crawler. That thing there, each time the bear attacks, he makes 2 additional attacks with that weapon. Now, his strength is 6 anyway, so these weapons, these tendrils will probably be used against Space Marines and infantry and stuff, but you could at a push use them against anything else. And don't forget that 6 goes up to 7 if the Greater Possessed is nearby. So overall, this guy, the new kid on the block, the Venom Crawler, looks the most interesting. But you shouldn't rule out the Defiler for taking out the heavy stuff, or the Mauler Fiend for taking out heavy stuff. As for the Forge Fiend, I've always liked the Forge Fiend. It strikes me, if you have a few of them on the back rank, shooting out, they might thin out a herd of fast moving Space Marines. Herd, you know, roaming the plains. Reaver squads. Anyway, they've all got their uses still. I think the size of the model has to come into it. The Defiler's a massive model. It's going to take up a lot of space. Force Fiend and Mauler Fiend not so big. The Venom Crawler a bit smaller. So if you wanted to have a whole squad of them based around the Lourdes Gordon, then basically the Venom Crawler would be the best option because it's small. You take 3 of them, put them around it and move forward in one big blob. You could probably then stick the Greater Possessed in the middle and the Master of Possessions and buff everything up. And as a consequence it'd be one quite tight little bob, you know, little new Death Star of Demon engines. Anyway, I kind of like the way this is going because it means for the Chaos Space Marines, instead of getting a new stratagem or something else, we get a unit that buffs other units. But it does make it a little bit like AdMech when you're playing it. It can get a bit complicated. So you need to understand which unit buffs what unit. Because, for instance, the Lourdes Gordon will only buff Demon engines. Whereas the Master of Possession will buff anything with Legion Demon, with his powers, which includes all Demon engines. So Legion Demon means all Demon engines. Legion Demon will include Warp Talons and Obliterators and things like that. They're not Demon engines, so the Lourdes Gordon is useless with Obliterators and stuff like that. The other thing is you can beam in a Lourdes Gordon, not Lourdes Gordon, an Obliterator and Warp Talons. So whilst your blob's moving forward, clearing out the enemy, all you've got to do is create a 9-inch bubble, and then you can bring down extra firepower. You can bring down the Obliterator on top of your Lourdes Gordon, so it goes right next to it, adds to the firepower. Or you can beam it somewhere else where a bit of firepower is needed. I know they're a bit pricey at over 100 points, but I like to see them as the Inquisition, and nobody expects the Inquisition. But you can beam them in, dagger, dagger, dagger. You know, it's just good at bonus firepower. And the benefit of bringing it in from turn 2 is you don't walk it there and be under fire. It just appears. You know, you can put it 12 inches away from the enemy, or just over 12 inches, to make sure none of that sneaky Space Marine return fire goes off, you know, when you first arrive. Says, and then you get to shoot anything up before your guys charge in or do their thing. I quite like the idea of that tactic. You know, it's kind of like, oh my god, I've got all these Demon engines charging towards me, what do I do? And then down come the Obliterators as well. Make a nightmare into a worse nightmare. If you want to clear a whole flank, that's the way to do it. But the Possessed and the Greater Possessed, they're quite interesting too. You know, quite cheap actually. If I remember right, the Possessed are how much are they? Yeah, they're elites. Possessed at 20 points each. Greater Possessed are 60, but or 70, but you really need one of them. The Greater Possessed, again, it gets 5 attacks, hits on a WS2. But the normal Possessed, their attacks is a roll, I believe. Roll D3 with the unit Possessed. The result is the attacks characteristic. So you can get between 1 and 3 attacks. But there is a power on the Master of Possession, Mutated Invigoration, that allows you to re-roll that dice if you really wanted to. You get a +1 strength to any Legion Demon units nearby. Both of them with that, so that'll be strength 6, like I said. So anyhow, there's lots of ways of mixing and matching and boosting things that are worth considering. One thing's for certain, having Possessed on the battlefield with a save throw of +4 instead of 5 might be a bit of a game changer in some cases. Their attacks, because they're Space Marines, is going to be, well, Heretic Astartes is going to be +1 on the turn they charge. If you're lucky enough to get a 3, well a 6 should I say, on the D3, then, or 3 attacks that is, it's going to be 4 attacks. It can be quite deadly. People dismiss the spawn because of the random rolls, but I've found the high strength and multiple wounds means they're A, hard to get rid of, and B, usually surprise everybody. So I see them more like Spawn, to be honest. But I think I'd probably still take Spawn. Right, anyway, I'm going to call it at that. Quite a lot of interesting stuff coming out, and it will change the way you play your Space Marines, especially if you've got Demon Engine. If you're one of those players that didn't bother with Demon Engines because it looked a bit crap before, I'm afraid they're quite expensive. You know, you've got 40-50 quid each. As a consequence, it's going to cost you a fair bit to catch up to those of us that have already got those models. But that was your choice to dismiss them. The rest of us are going to hit the ground running when these models come out of a whole army of Demon Engines, so we'll see you out there.